Well, here's something a little different. This here, as I've talked about before in the past, is a Boker Kalashnikov 74. This is in the Desert Warrior pattern, so it looks kind of like a donut and whatnot. And it's got some AUS 8 steel. This big old chungus, kerchunk, is, yep, it's same thing. It's Kalashnikov 74, but this is the XXL version. I could be wrong, but I think it's only available in the clip point bowie kind of style there. And yeah, this guy has a hell of a blade on him. They claim that it's 4 1/4, but as you can see, I got a bit further, so it's a little over 4.5 inches overall. I think they might have been trying to measure from kind of where they started to sharpen it, which unfortunately there's no choil, so whatever. The same thing happens on all of them, so it's not like it's a detriment to this one, it's a detriment to this series as a whole. Yeah, this guy is super huge. And yet, I actually find this thing incredibly comfortable in my hand. I've broken down a few boxes with it already and determined that the edge that came out of the factory really sucked on this thing. It was hard to get through some stuff. I have since remedied that situation, so yeah, it's all nice and shiny and everything, and oh yeah. It slices and dices and juliennes and whatnot super great now. What I can say about that experience, though, is that this D2 that they have on this guy, incredibly hard to sharpen. Much more difficult time than I've had on a lot of other D2 knives. Yeah, a lot of Chinese companies, QSP and CJRB and Tucson and this, that, and the other. Everyone's kind of got D2 steel going on these days. And, well, these guys are made in Taiwan, or at least... Yeah, I thought they claimed it on there. But yeah, I do believe these guys are made in Taiwan. And this particular D2 was very, very stubborn. I ended up reducing its angle down to about 17 degrees. It was somewhere around 20 or 21. And yeah, even using it on the ye old Kin Onion bench sharpener with the bell grinder attachment and everything, took forever just to knock that stuff down. And then quite a bit longer to actually knock off the convex edge and get it to a nice sharp flat kind of thing with the Work Sharp Precision Adjust. But yeah, now that it's there, it's super great. But that does give me a lot of hope for the longevity of the edge, because wow, that was difficult to sharpen. Around, not quite, but around as much difficulty as I've had trying to sharpen like S90V. But yeah, it comes with a really heavy stonewash. Big fan. I absolutely love stonewash on a knife. Makes me worry a lot less about scratches. And, well, I just kind of like the look of it overall. This, while it might look like plastic, nope, just like everything else. It's a standard aluminum cast kind of thing. It still keeps that same kind of pocket clip going there. They didn't really scale that up, so it doesn't really fit the grooves that the standard one would to have it disappear in your hand. Regardless, though, it stays pretty much out of your way. I don't really get a hot spot off of this when I'm trying to use it, and basically any configuration that I've gone and used it in. I do believe that this is I don't know, mostly like a sprint run or a limited edition or something like that. This is obviously from the second run because I didn't pick it up on the first one. But it showed up at Blade HQ a little while ago. And I decided, yeah, I think I kind of want that after I pick up this one and was much more impressed with it than I thought I was going to be. So yeah, it's got a ton of jimping going on. You got that front that also incorporates a couple on the blade there. You got a whole bunch going on the whole backside for, you know, if you really want to go for some crazy reverse hammer grips and stuff like that, then absolutely, that works just fine. The spring is about the same strength, so it doesn't fly out with quite the same vigor there. You can feel a little bit of a slowdown on it, but it still puts that blade out with absolutely no problems whatsoever. And what's kind of neat about it is that it doesn't exactly force it out all the way, so you can actually push the button and kick it forward a little bit, and it's disengaged. Makes it a lot easier to try and close it single-handedly if you'd like. Which, you know, this one you have to concentrate a little bit more on keeping that push down as you're doing that, and then hopefully not slicing your finger up like I almost did there. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at some sort of statistics going on here. And to save myself some time, I'm actually going to write them down at the same time because I haven't actually measured any of this stuff yet. But I got a notepad right over here on the side. So the easiest one to take a look at here first is the weight. Let's go in ounces first. And yeah, 6.43 ounces. Or, you know, 182 grams. What was that in ounces again? There we go, 6.42. There we go. Yeah, it looks like that's wiggling everything. That's kind of less than ideal. But. Alrighty. Next up, this guy's actually quite thin. I'm going to take a couple of measurements on the thickness of the handle. You got right here, which is basically 0.56 of an inch, but it also has the finger groove kind of things, which is 0.65. And yeah, as much as that kind of might seem a little large, I really don't think so. It feels very nice and thin. Actually, it rides decently well. It does have the deep carry pocket clip like the first one, which isn't my particular favorite, but it seems to be gaining much more popularity than standard pocket clip these days. So there you go. Alright, let's see. I also want to take a look at the stock thickness on this. And it ain't bad at basically 3 millimeters there. Which is, you know, makes it nice and slicey for such a large knife. You know, usually if you would see a folding knife like this, you probably get somewhere around like a 1/4 inch or maybe a little less than that, you know, just to make up for the fact that this is a big burly knife. But this one, they didn't quite do that, so that's kind of neat. The grooves are a little bit different, whereas these ones are all identical. This one does kind of have the first one larger, and then the other two scaled back a little bit. But yeah. I do want to take a look on the inside of this thing, because I am a little bit curious in general. I don't think it's going to be any different necessarily than the other ones, but I would like to see a little bit of a construction on it. So let's go ahead and do that. We got T6 hardware for these, and T8 for the pivot. As with the other one, I do believe that these are aluminum, or at the very least demagnetized steel, but still, you gotta kind of treat them like they're a bit soft, so you want to be a little careful with them, just so you don't, you know, mess them up and strip them out. And that kind of makes it much more difficult for you to do the maintenance on this thing if you'd like to do so in the future. Yeah, pocket clip does screw into basically a barrel spacer here on the back, but everything is accessible from the front because that's the way the spring ends up working. This screw's just going to fight me. There we go. Alright, let's go ahead and pop the top, shall we? Alright. And yeah, we don't really have anything in the way of skeletonization. Possibly these things cut out there to hold them on the stencil while they end up CNC machining the rest of it or whatnot. But yeah, you got basically the hole for the spring there. You got the hole for the blade stop pin, which I will talk a little bit about later. And you can see this has a little bit of a scratch here, and that's something that was a little annoying to me when I popped them open a few minutes ago. Is this only has one washer, and it's nylon, and you can see this guy was absolutely chewed up out of the factory. So it was at least accidentally riding a little bit on the bare aluminum there, which, you know, it didn't really hurt the action on it, but you know, it's not exactly the nicest thing I've ever seen going on there. But yeah, so the other side has the hole for it, and that's basically where the spring goes. You can see the hole, that's where it will attach. And the other little tab sticking out there actually goes into the handle to actually provide the spring assisting. And we have a full D-shaped pivot, which, hey, I personally appreciate. Something that I have noticed with this guy after playing around with him. Oh, here's the spring for the button lock. And the stem for the button lock, yeah, whatever. Anyway, what I was just going to say was about the blade stop pin. It's actually a little loose in there. It doesn't serve any structural issue, but if you do have the knife put back together and everything, and you shake the knife around, it rattles, and it's basically this being not quite long enough, so it'll hit between the different sides of the scale there. I'll certainly demonstrate that once I get it back together, which I suppose shall happen about now. But yeah, unlike a lot of other knives, as you can see, we only have one washer. We don't have one for both sides going on there. Yeah, let's go ahead and poke that through the hole there. Well, I can do this one of two ways. I think I'm going to do it this way because it's a little easier for me. So I'll stick the spring in there. You can see the hole on the other side, and that helps to line it up. At least it usually does. Okay, well, I did have it. All right, so it is under just a little tiny bit of tension. Generally, I will have the, yeah, I'll do that anyway. You will want the pivot actually in place. Kind of helps everything stick together correctly. Yeah, there we go. And you can see where that sticks out, and so you just pop them right on there. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so I'll pull them just a little bit forward so you can get the blade stop pin in there. And a little button lock plunger sort of thing going on there. You can let go of the blade to get that a little bit of tension. Alright, and then there's the button there, which from time to time does have trouble of not really sticking around where it should be. All right. So I'm going to take my little washer, stick them back on there, and kind of what I've figured with these things is as you're kind of putting it together, you want to make sure that the button can actually fully depress. So when you place the handle back on there, you actually want to keep that button held down just until you get the pivot there kind of put back in place a little bit, because that button can kind of slide out of that little area, and it makes it much more difficult to try to get that back and aligned afterwards. That just kind of helps you do that while it's not under a lot of that extra tension from all these screws. This is a fairly new Weha T6 bit, because the last one I had was slowly getting a little worn out, and I think it's a lot more worth it for me to replace one of these bits for a couple bucks every now and then than it is to try to find replacement hardware for some knives. So, yeah, there we go. Back together, easy peasy. As easy as things with springs can be in them. So yeah, that's the blade stop pin on there. It's not the button, because I can hold on to that. And it's not any of the other barrel spacers. So it's that. You know, in general, I don't necessarily care on that. I've had some T-Suns that do that as well. If you are really conscious about that, you can take basically like an itty bitty little bit of cotton. I suggest you can probably take it off of a Q-tip or something like that, just a little tiny bit, and toss it down into one side of the blade stop pin hole sort of thing. On this one, I would probably do it on the clip side because it's the easiest way to do it there, and then you can put it back together, and that will lift it up just a little tiny bit, but it'll also provide a little bit of cushion, and it won't rattle on there, and it'll push it against the other one. So that'll kind of get it to shut up if you in fact don't really like that sound. Yep, it's engaged, so you don't really hear it. And that's about the only negative I could really say about it, other than the chewed up nylon pivot washer on that thing, which yeah, when I first opened it up, it was pushed off center, and kind of the inside was pushed up. So it wasn't just kind of a little raggedy. It was a little mangled, I guess. But, you know, I put it back together, and I mean, the action is just the same. So, hooray. I guess that's certainly one reason why a lot of the Chinese companies had really embraced the spring assist after Kershaw and Ken Onion kind of had that developed, because you know, if you fling a blade out really quick, then it really shouldn't matter what the action is like, because it's open. So there you go. But yeah, I like this thing just like the normal Kalashnikov 74. I really like this thing. I thought I was going to get it a little bit more for a novelty sake sort of thing, but it's amazingly comfortable and very easily usable. And you know, if the sharpening effort has anything to do with it, then this steel should be pretty damned amazing for D2. So yeah, that's the Boker Automat Kalashnikov 74 XXL. Now I'm only missing one that I would like to get, and it's basically the Desert Warrior, but they did make kind of a smaller one. And, because I like this one so much, I just wanted to kind of grab the other one there for it. So yeah, it doesn't have much in the way of finger grooves except for the first one. That's going to make sense because this one would probably have like 6 finger grooves. It doesn't really make sense for humans. So there you go. It's a knife I didn't expect I was going to like anywhere near as much as I did. But I do, and I will probably carry it on me since I can actually do that here, which is super exciting. So, yeah. As always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo.